Hello, everyone. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm going to talk to you about my story today, or I would like to share to you some of it at least. Hopefully, it will be useful for you. You probably have not much relationship with a nomad, but I used to be one. And by nomad, I don't mean the digital nomads nowadays that you see on the stories, people having fun on the beaches of Thailand and Bali. I mean the primitive people who live off the nature in Africa and in many parts of the world. I grew up in Somalia, in the east of Africa. It's a country with a very rich nomadic culture. Most of the Somali population live outside of the cities. They have animals like this: goats, sheep, camels, and cattle. They are called pastoral nomads, and they are usually a community of people who move from one place to another, depending on the conditions, like rain. Their life is all about the animals, the well-being of the animals. So they are dictated by the life of these animals. I spent the first few years of my life as a nomad here. This was the environment where I grew up, open landscapes, very far away from the cities, no stress, no city life, nothing like that. It's just simple life. You wake up in the morning, you drink some tea with goat milk, and your day is usually about moving the animals for grazing. You are watching them, you're following the animals. Your job is to make sure that they are together and that in the evening they come back together. And also that they are not eaten by other animals. It's quite a challenge because you can already start this job as young as 3 years old. So it's a tough job. And usually you forget about yourself because you, as a 3 years old, I mean, what can you do against a wolf? That's gonna be a challenge, right? But anyway, it was still, I survived, I'm here. This, I don't know if the picture is very clear, but this was our shelter. It's very simple, it's all made from nature. This shelter is, when there are heavy rains, it usually used to collapse on us. But during the dry seasons, it's really a good shelter. It doesn't feel warm and it doesn't feel cold. So the family will usually gather around the house in the evening when we bring the goats and the sheep back. We will talk, we will laugh. People in the nomadic are actually very happy people. We used to laugh a lot. And at night, people will sleep outside, just around the house. It was a very simple but tough life, I would say. Because in the sense, today, you probably cannot even stay in that life for a week, I would say. Because you just are going to miss everything that you are used to. Because there is no material life in the nomadic. The only materials are the animals, basically, which are not even a material. So after some years, when I was about 11 years old, my sister visited us and said, "This guy is bright. I want to take him to the city. He deserves education." Because normally, as a kid in the nomadic life, you don't study. You don't go to school. So my sister took me to the city. This city called Mogadishu, the capital of Somalia. It's a big city. The first month was very strange for me. I was confused. I was the funny child in the neighborhood. The other kids were laughing at everything I say. And some of them were trying to bully me. But I remember I was also a very tough kid. I used to beat the hell of other kids, actually. And I was really good at school also. Because I had this fresh mind, unspoiled. So when I started school, I was I could memorize things very quickly. So after I came to the city, thanks to my sister, and it was industry where I had my first encounter with technology. The first technology thing I saw was a TV. I remember some of the kids were watching TV at my brother's house, and I came this evening, and they were watching an action movie. There was a lot of shooting and noise coming out of the house. As soon as I came, I thought the characters in this box, I didn't know what it was, of course, were real people behind the wall. So I got scared and I ran away. But later on, when I saw a computer at my cousin's office, I was fascinated by this thing, because here you don't just sit and watch, but you can actually play with it. You can do some things with it. That made me a little bit very much interested. I was fascinated. I came back to my cousin's office every day, basically, to play with his computer. He was very generous, so he allowed me to do it. And I eventually realized that this is what I want to learn. I want to learn more of this. So I enrolled myself into courses in Mogadishu. I took a lot of courses. Windows 95, that was what I started with. Windows 98, Windows 2000, all of those things. And eventually, I finished all the courses that were available in Somalia. It wasn't even enough. So it took me all the way to India, where I realized that that's where I need to go to learn more. It was cheap. They had a good IT education, so that was a good reason to go. So after I spent some time in India, where I learned more in-depth IT education, I was very into it. And eventually, I left India. I became a geek. I did a lot of IT work as a systems administrator and so on. Life was good. I couldn't complain a lot. But then I came to Sweden in 2010 as one of the many Somali refugees that have arrived here. You can see my face over there. That's the first time I saw snow. I was terrified, I must say. But a lot of the things I have built over the years have actually been gone as a refugee. I ended up in a small village in the middle of Sweden, where when I showed up, I remember the first day I showed up, there was this office for integration of newcomers. I met the lady, and I told her about my background, what I have studied, and she was like, really, she seemed excited. She was like, I have something for you, come back tomorrow. I was looking forward to it. The next day when I arrived, she told me, okay, I'm gonna send you to our trainee program, and you're gonna cut a grass in the forest. That was not what I expected, but I was cutting grass at a football field for several months. Unfortunately, I never got a job the first year, and eventually I gave up on my IT education and all of those things. But I'm not complaining, because I have got back to where I was. I started companies. I even got job at the United Nations. And today I'm here, of course, because I have done something cool, I guess. My life is good, but how is it in the Nomadic, where I left several years ago? Unfortunately, not much has changed. The nomads have mobile phones nowadays. That's cool. But they have a lot of the problems that they had back then also. They have climate problems, droughts, all of these things. So this year I was reminded about this when I saw news coming out of Somalia of nomads being devastated by droughts, not having a market to sell their animals, a lot of them even losing their animals, lack of food, starvation, and I want to do something about it. So I actually quit my job at the UN, and I came up with a crazy solution. I said, why not just enable them to sell the animals all over the world, over the internet, although they are in Somalia. So I built an app, an online platform that enables people from all over the world to invest in livestock, in animals. So it works like this. People buy animals and they can sell to each other. They can give them a name to their animals. They get updates and pictures from the farmers in Somalia. They can follow the animals like their Facebook friends. Uh, they and it's been very cool, I must say. So this solution is important because the livestock market is the backbone of the Somali economy. About 40 million animals live in Somalia, and out of those, 40% of the country's economy is based on livestock. So without this market, if this market is not working, then the country will collapse, basically. The economy will collapse. And Somalia is the #1 exporter of goats and sheep in the world. So it's a very established market. So I understood the importance of this market because I come from the nomadic background. I know how it works, and I know that if we don't help these nomads and if we don't give them a new market and new opportunities, then they will really struggle. So enabling nomads to sell their animals online, for me, is the ultimate integration through technology. We have today nomads in Somalia selling their animals to customers in 14 countries, including Sweden, Taiwan, Argentina. And I find that to be very empowering. Now, I would like to share with you some lessons about this. I learned it through this project and through my life. Hopefully, it will be useful for you also and inspire you to do something for yourself. My first thing is focus on a social problem, a pressing social problem. Not all social problems are equal. Some of them are neglected. So I want you to find a problem that is neglected, but you understand. This is the key. If you don't understand the problem, don't do it. Because nowadays in the startup tech world, we have a problem, where people are coming up with fictional problems and saying, okay, I'm solving this problem, but does this problem really need to be fixed? Do you really need to fix someone to order alcohol from a shop and deliver it to that? They can go to the shop. There's more important things. Do you need to create another dating app? There are already so many of them. So I will recommend you to find a problem that really contributes and that you understand. From my background, you can see that I understand the problem I'm solving because I come from this environment. I know how it works, and that's important. Secondly, make technology easy. Technology can be terrifying for people, but if you make it simple, then it works. In my case, the nomads that we work don't have to deal with technology. For them, they don't even see the technology that we do. We take care of the things. And our customers have this emotional connection to their animals through our app. They are obsessed with their goats, with their sheep. For me, this is powerful. If you can create this, because let's face it, our customers are never going to see their animals. They are in Somalia. Somalia is kind of considered a scary place, so they're not going to go there. But we have enabled them to have this connection through technology. Secondly, embrace the offline world. This is really important because look, anybody can build an app today. You can build a website, but that's not going to be enough. If you really want to make a difference in this world, and I mean a difference by tackling some of the tough problems, you have to realize a lot of the world's population are not connected. And you cannot just expect to build an app and say, okay, I'm going to publish it on the Google Play or the App Store, and nomads in Somalia are going to download it. That's not going to work. So basically, you have to be ready to do more than just build an app. You have to be ready to do the dirt work. You have to go offline, I would say. And think global. This is something you hear all the time, but I don't mean think global by saying, okay, I'm going to save the world. I don't mean that. But what I mean is, when you find a problem that you care about, try to use the tools that are available over the internet to expand your reach. In our case, our impact is very local, it's specific, but our thinking is global. We can reach customers all over the world. And you have to be willing to take a risk. Look, entrepreneurship sounds beautiful. It sounds exciting, but it's tough also. And there are a lot of ups and downs. There are challenges. In my case, when I quit my job at the UN, I only have 1 month's salary. That's what I had. And I put all of it onto the company. So it was kind of blind risk. Let's see what happens. And eventually it paid off, but it could have been also a failure. So if you're going to do something, you have to be ready to do to be ready to take a risk. And you can't avoid risks, especially if you want to solve big problems. Like for me, Somalia is a tough place to work, but it's one of the risks we are taking because I know that I have a bigger purpose that I want to reach. I want to help people. At the same time, I am building a company. And finally, if your app or if your business or whatever you are doing has a business model, it will go a long way. Because in our case, we are not a charity. We make money every time we sell animals to our customers. When our customers get a return on their investment, we also make a revenue out of that, and that makes the whole process sustainable. If you want to make it sustainable, you will have to have a model that also gives back to the business. That's about me. Thank you.